So why does conversion rate matter? Well, let's take a look at a website that's getting 10,000 visits per month and is a typical e-commerce website. So right now, let's say that they're getting a 2% conversion rate, which means that of the people who are visiting, 2% actually end up buying their product, right? And let's say that each customer that this e-commerce website gets pays the company $45. So they're ordering something that's worth $45. Well, with a 2% conversion rate, it means that of the 10,000 visitors, they're actually only getting 200 purchases. So already we're losing 9,800 people, right? And then of this, 200 times the $45 that they're getting per purchase gets us to $9,000 in total revenue that the company would have made on this 10,000 visitors in that month. What happens if we were to bump this up to 2.5% conversion rate? So it's a 0.5% absolute increase. Well, this now jumps to 11,250. So the baseline at 2% was 9,000, and now the revenue is 11,250, which is a difference of 2,250 or 25%. And that's without getting any additional traffic to the website to start with. So no changes on the ads, no changes on anything else. All they did was change something on the website that got more people to convert. And when they did that, boom, that's $2,250 extra dollars in their bank for getting the revenue, right, on the purchase value. So what happens if we were to bump this revenue per customer? Let's say they continue to make some money off of each customer that they acquire. If this jumps up to, let's say, $110, then the difference goes from $22,000 to $27,500, which is a difference of $5,500. Again, this is with no changes to the incoming traffic, right? They're just converting more of those people. So instead of only getting 200 people to purchase, they're getting 250 people to purchase. And if we were to bump this up to 3%, which, 1% absolute conversion rate is definitely doable for a lot of these companies. We've done it before just by adding elements that I talked about before, like social proof and changing some of the way that the flow goes or some of the headlines, adding scarcity, things like that. So this is very doable improvement, and you can see that the difference is staggering, right? So it's from 22,000, you add an extra 11,000, which is another 50%. Imagine if you can just increase your revenue by 50% without having to change anything else that you're doing and only website related stuff. Wouldn't you do that? Of course you would, right? So now let's take a case where you've actually scaled up. So this company, instead of doing 10,000 total visits per month, let's say it's actually doing 10,000 visits per day. And so if it's doing that, then this number suddenly becomes 300,000 visits that they're having, and the difference is amazing, right? So the company goes from producing $660,000 a month in revenue to $990,000, which is almost $1 million. So adding an additional $330,000 to top line revenue just from bumping this up from 2% to 3% is absolutely amazing, right? And so let's see what it looks like if you had a lower average revenue per customer. You're still looking at a $135,000 difference, which is amazing again. So let's take a look at how this affects the ads, right? So let's say that you were spending $10,000 to get 10,000 people to your website, which is a cost per click of about $1, right? And this is common. You'll see this a lot in Facebook, depending on your ads. So if you're paying $1 per click, and you're getting, the 10,000 people to come to your website, if you're converting at 2%, this means that your cost to acquire a customer, often called CAC or CPA, is $50. So if you're paying $50 for every customer and you're only making $45, which doesn't take into account the actual profit you might get from the customer, which when you subtract COGS or other stuff, your cost of operating, then this is actually, you're losing money on every customer in this flow, right? And the thing that's stopping you is not necessarily the ads, but it might be your conversion rate. So let's see what happens if we were to bump this up to 2.5%. Boom, suddenly your cost to acquire a customer goes down to $40 instead of $50. So it's very likely you're still losing a little bit of money here, but at least you're not losing top line revenue as well as a result of this. What happens if we bump this up to 3%? Well, now you're in a slightly better place, right? So $33 to acquire a customer. If you're getting average revenue per customer of $45, you're still probably making a little bit of money here, and then you can gladly scale this up and actually scale up your ads. So whenever we're looking at ads, we often think about what is the conversion rate first, because if you improve that, then all of your marketing gets way easier. And especially if you're doing $110 per customer, then this difference is much better as well. So that's the other piece of it, is improving the average order value per customer. But the difference, again, just on the conversion rate alone, is pretty massive overall. So I hope that helps you understand why the conversion rate matters so much. Moving it from 1%, if you're only converting at 1% on your website, then your cost to acquire a customer is way too high. So you're not ever going to be profitable on this. So you wouldn't even be able to run these ads, right? Versus boosting it up to the higher end, typical e-commerce companies that you want to see, 3%. Some of them can hit 5%, depending on how qualified this traffic is. But 3% is definitely doable, and that makes you fall much more in line and actually being able to scale that piece. So for different industries, this conversion rate metric is different. So for lead generation, this might be closer to 10%. For pre-qualified, pre-sales funnel people, this might be closer to 20%. So it's all dependent on the niche that you're in and what type of traffic you're driving to the page. But the small gains can make a very big improvement in your bottom line and in your top line, as I've demonstrated here. Thanks for watching. Follow me on Clubhouse at dakalabs.com or at DakaLabs, and hope to see you soon. Thanks.